are excited to learn about how to integrate Chipp with Softr. You're going to learn all about Softr today, not from me, but from a Softr expert. Patrick Ford works at Softr and is based in South Carolina. Someone I've worked with for a number of years, so it's fun to cross paths again in new chairs. We're currently hosting a hackathon at Chipp. So what that means is that you have the chance to create a Chipp chat, we call it, so an AI tool, and it can be as simple as duplicating a template or building something on Softr and integrating Chipp. And I'm going to put the link in right now. You have until the end of the day Friday if you want to build something to be considered for our cash prizes, and then we're going to be sharing all of the builds into the future. So you can definitely share them all the way through Monday when we have our showcase. So excited to have you all share. And tomorrow, we're going to be announcing a new feature release. A number of you have been playing around with it, but custom capabilities will be live tomorrow for the entire community. And that is when you can actually connect Chipp to other tools right within the chat. So you can basically call tools right within the chat communication. So people like Ricardo are building really cool use cases for that. And I think that'll tie into some of what Patrick will talk about. So I don't want to hog too much time because we have the expert here with us. So Patrick, why don't you quick introduce yourself and tell us, what you do at Softr, and then we can kind of dive into it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the customer success manager at Softr. So I deal a lot with our business and enterprise customers, a lot of business use cases for Softr. But I'm also a tinkerer and kind of a maker and have lots of really random side projects that I like to do as well, as I'm sure most of you do. And so, yeah, really happy to be here, and hopefully some things that I show off can be of benefit to you, and that you can, maybe start to brainstorm about how you could use Softr in conjunction with Chipp to do some really powerful stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to have you show it. Patrick shared a few on social media, so I'll drop those links in the chat, but maybe you can kick us off. Tell us high level, what is Softr, and kind of what are some of the big use cases you see when you talk to customers?
Yeah, so Softr is a no-code platform for building software. So we're primarily focused on web apps at the moment, but you can obviously build landing pages, websites, pretty much anything that you need. The only thing that you can't really build at the moment is native apps, like that you would download from the App Store per se. But when we think in terms of apps typically have four things: the front end, the back end, the user management piece, and then your logic and workflows that take place outside of the app, right? That rely on external tools. And so Softr provides two of those four things, hopefully more in the future. I can't say too much about that, but two of those four things. We provide the front end, so the builder that lets you build the nice interfaces and all the buttons and the headers and all of that sort of stuff. And then we also provide the user management piece. So log in, log out, password resets, password encryption, SSO, all of that type of stuff we can handle for the user management. The only part that we don't do is the actual data source. And so part of the most powerful part about Softr actually is that we integrate with over 10 different data sources that allow you to interface with a bunch of different data and bring all of that siloed data from all these sources into a single place. So currently we support Airtable, Google Sheets, HubSpot, Smart Suite, BigQuery, SQL in all of its flavors. I feel like I'm missing another one: Supabase, Xano, and soon to be Notion coming. And also we just introduced Monday.com as well, like I think last week. So we have a lot of really awesome data sources to support that you can connect with.
I'll give you a round of applause for that, Patrick. That's impressive. So yeah,
it's really hard to remember. It's getting harder and harder every time I have to.
Impressive to support it, and impressive to remember the list.
Yeah, and also we've got REST API coming towards the end of the year as well, which will just open up a huge gate to pretty much any public or private data set that you may need to access. So yeah, it's a huge undertaking. I'm not envious of our engineers at all because they have a lot on their plate all the time, but it's great for us because we get to build amazing stuff.
That's That's amazing. Well, let's take a real quick pause here to give you a sense of what people are thinking about. So I would love to do a quick avalanche here for Patrick. Go ahead in the chat. Tell us one thing you hope to learn about Softr and Chipp kind of in this session. So what would make this session a huge success for you? I know Patrick has some ideas, but go ahead and type one idea. You don't have to hit enter yet. We'll do it all at the same time to build some momentum. But go ahead in the chat and type us in. What would be a great thing for you to learn from Patrick in the next 30 minutes or so to make sure he hits it? So don't want to miss anything. I'm going to go ahead and type one as well. So we'll give you a few moments to type something in. So then on the count of three, let's go ahead and send them over and see what you have. So 3, 2, 1, go ahead and hit enter. And what do people want to learn about? So seamless connection. I like that. Open to anything. We like that, Vicky. Open. I want to learn about easy embedding iframes. So also we had someone ask about Airtable. So there's a few kind of topics there for you, Patrick, you can mention. So yeah, so why don't you tell a little bit about, maybe integrating Chipp, and you can live build and kind of take this where you need to.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So let me just go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Hopefully it will let me do this. I'll just share my entire window. Hopefully, apologies if there's some inception going on here. I'll switch over and let me know, Scott, if
yeah, I'll kind of watch the chat and jump in if you need anything. It looks good.
So when you first log into, I'll show this off in just a second, but when you first log into Softr, you'll have like basically a dashboard. You can build as many apps as you want inside of Softr and even publish them to subdomains. But the core part of a Softr app is that all apps are made up of pages, just like a website is made up of pages. So I've got, in this particular app, I have like an accounts page, a home page, like you see here. I've got login, log out pages, privacy, terms, like a dashboard, help center, like all kinds of different pages inside of this app. And each of these pages is made up of building elements that we call blocks. And these are like basically like Legos that you can kind of snap together to create the pages of your app. And there's kind of two different varieties of blocks. We have static blocks, like you see here, where I can set up some really nice kind of hero. They're just kind of pre-templatized elements that I can change. I've got some feature grids here that I can go and add in features across here. I've got these kind of like feature lists. I've got maybe some testimonial or some partner type blocks that I can use. I've got footers, I've got headers, I've got FAQ sections, I've got call to actions, all sorts of different static blocks that we can use that are not pulling data from a data source. But then I also have dynamic blocks that are really useful at displaying information. And so for this particular app, I have an Airtable base on the back end that lets people add vehicles and monitor the maintenance of those vehicles. And I always like to tell people to kind of expand your mind a little bit and think about, maybe I'm not dealing with vehicles, maybe I'm dealing with projects and tasks instead of vehicles and maintenance items, right? Or maybe I'm dealing with clients and comments, right? Or maybe I'm dealing with course items and assignments. So there's a lot of different things that you could kind of shift your thinking and do some mental gymnastics to translate to your context and your use case. But the basics are kind of the same, right? We're just listing some records, we're showing some information about them, and then we're giving some people the ability to maybe add some records or edit some existing ones, or even click on some records and see more information about them, which is pretty much what this one does. So if a user clicks on one of the items in this list, they're taken to a details page that then shows more information about that item and shows maybe a table of all of the maintenance that's been completed for that particular vehicle. And these are all just mapped directly to my Airtable base. So my Airtable base just looks like this. I've just got a users table, a vehicles table, some maintenance items, some reminders, and then maybe some story items, which is a kind of an interesting part of this app. And these users are just the exact same users that I have in my Softr studio here. So if I go over to my users tab, you can see that I've got all of my users here. And the great thing about this is that I can even connect Stripe to this. So I can create user groups around what plan they're subscribed to. In this case, I've got this plan called Keeper. And if they're subscribe to this keeper plan, I can control what they can see and do inside of the app based on this user group. So maybe someone who's not logged in, they see something completely different and can't access a dashboard like people who are logged in can. Or maybe there are certain features that subscribers can get access to that free plan subscribers cannot. So there's a lot of really good things that you can do with user groups. You can separate people out by clients or vendors or companies, or there's a ton of different things that you can do with user groups that allow you to control what people can see and do inside of the app. And so for this case, one of the things that I want to kind of limit them in what they can do is maybe not everybody should be able to see my Chipp integration that I've put in. The great thing about Softr is that we also have tons of custom code capabilities. So I can apply custom code in the header and footer of the entire app, but I can also do this on just a single page as well. So maybe my people who are paid subscribers, they see a dashboard that lets them see the Chipp integration here. And so on this page settings, I've just got some custom code for my Chipp chat widget here. I've got some other custom code in here as well, but you can see this line of code here is just the script for my chat widget. I can kind of gatekeep this page so that only certain people can see it. So in this visibility here, I could go down in here and say, hey, logged in users can see this page, but only keeper plan subscribers should be able to see this particular dashboard, right? So what I could do is create a duplicate of this page for maybe non-paid people, and they don't have access to the Chipp widget, right? So there's a lot of really cool kind of gatekeeping things that you can do here.
To dive in on that, Patrick, we've seen some people using that for basically selling bundles of Chipp chats. So you essentially could make one that's free. So it's kind of like learn about our company, and then here's 4 services we can provide via AI. And then to get those 4 services, you have to, subscribe to this page via Softr. And then on that page, you have the 4 squares linking out to the Chipp chats or something like that. So it's a cool way to think about, bundling AI products together potentially behind a paywall, I think is a good way to think about it.
Yeah. And especially if you've got like multiple GPTs that you're trying to, or you've got different GPT products or models that you've trained. That's a great way to do it. And you don't have to use the widget either. We also have a custom code in block. Let me discard these changes real quick. We also have a custom code block as well. So Scott, I think this will answer your question that you asked about the embed. Let's say that I wanted to embed my Chipp chat I have a maintenance helper, and I'll kind of show you what this looks like. But essentially I want people to, inside their dashboard, I want people to be able to ask, like, how often should I change my oil for this particular car? Or, what is where can I find a specific part, right? I'm looking for this very specific part. I don't know where to find it. Or how often should, I take my car to have the tires rotated, things like that. I want them to be able to ask those questions that are typically very difficult to find. You either have to be a part of like an auto forum, or you have to like join Reddit and find the right subreddit and all of this weird stuff. People who subscribe, I just want to be able to provide them the information right there. And so I could do this, like I said, with the widget there. I've just kind of got this set up. But the great thing is that you can just use this embed iframe. I'm just going to like copy this and go over to my Softr app here. And then I'm just going to paste this directly in here. And like, there's not really much else that you have to do. It's really amazing. It's
awesome.
Really cool what you can do. And yeah, I mean, that's Chipp is just so awesome because it's so easy to make a custom GPT. And then when you combine, like obviously Chipp has the membership feature kind of baked in, but if you're running a company and you have like an existing client portal, or you need a client portal, or you have an existing landing page or a website or something, you can take, your Chipp chats and embed them directly inside of a portal or a website and have some really powerful functionality there. And one of the other things that I like a lot about Chipp is that if you are using this for very, technical business use cases or something like that, is this ability here to upload a knowledge source is really, really powerful to me. Like just the fact that you can upload TikToks and YouTube, or I guess the links to those, but you can upload, PDFs if you have like training documents or technical documentation, or you have employee policies, an employee handbook. All of that type of stuff is really easy, and you can provide your employees or your clients with some really, really powerful AI chats directly inside of your Softr app there. I think.
Well, let's take a moment here. Any questions on either kind of Softr setup or integrating Chipp? You kind of saw two ways to do it there, and we didn't showcase that, but with the
let me do that.
code, it'd be pretty easy to add the chat widget, right? So they could essentially have that little bubble like support widget style.
Yeah. So I've just got it down here in this one.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Right, so I can say like, where can I find, this is a problem that I actually had myself, like not too long ago. I was like, I can't find the belt for my lawnmower. Like the belt for it broke off. And so I had to find a new one. It took me forever to find somebody that actually carried this. But if I'd had something like this, I could just say, and here it just gives me like, it says, sure, here it is. Here's the address of it. Here's another option if they don't have it, and it gives me the address of it. It's really incredible what you can do with this sort of thing when you've got a really fine-tuned GPT. And this adds a ton of value for people using this product. It could add a ton of value for people using your client portal or the SaaS that you're making, whatever the case is.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, let's throw it over to the audience. Any questions kind of on Softr or the embed process? Hopefully, Vicky, that falls into looking to learn more. Any questions on that? Or Ricardo, I know you get a little more technical, so if you have any more technical versions, you can ask that too.
And then I've got one more we can show.
I don't really have questions right now, but I should train myself more to test out more no-code tools. But I always get annoyed by clicking all the buttons to change styles and adjust the no-code web page. When I just if I build it in Svelte myself, I will be done in 5 minutes or something. But it looks good. It looks. This is one of the most easiest looking from this what I've seen so far. So yeah, I will sure test it out and try it out because I have never used Softr before, and probably I will bug Patrick or someone else at Softr after I've used it. Most likely, just I do with everyone at Chipp.
Yeah, definitely do. Like I'm kind of like you. Like I don't like fooling with div blocks and containers and all of that sort of stuff. Like I can do it, but it just gets. I just don't have a lot of time, and Softr makes it so fast. Like I was a Softr user before I even worked at Softr, and so I kept coming back. Like I would try to go and build on other platforms, and I just always kept coming back to Softr just because it was so easy to build. It was so easy to spin up something that actually worked and was like an actual product that I could release to people, which was really cool.
Yeah. And welcome Anna and Biggie and Amit. We're talking Softr and Chipp integration. So definitely feel free to unmute and ask a question or drop it in the chat. But I'll let you kind of keep going, Patrick. I'll let you know if there's any questions coming up.
Yeah, for sure. And I just had kind of one other example to show is just this. This is also more of like a SaaS use case, I guess. But you can think of this in do some more mental gymnastics here and think about how you might use this in your own context. So I have a Chipp chat that has some kind of complex instructions here, but essentially what I wanted to do, and my wife and I experienced this issue, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. We really had difficulty finding a way to like create a registry or a gift list and then share it with everybody, but not it be tied to like a single store, right? A single online store. And so we wanted to, I had this kind of like wild idea to create something that could maybe scrape a website when someone puts in a link or something like that. But the problem with scraping is that you have to, define where those CSS selectors are on every single page. And then if they make a change to the website, then your scraper is broken. The great thing about AI, and this is actually like one of the first things that I tried on Chipp, and I was like thrilled with how good it was at it, was the ability to tell an AI like, hey, go and look at this web page and get some information about it. And here's the information that I want, and here's how I want it formatted. And so one of the things that I ended up putting together, it's still kind of a work in progress, but one of the things that I ended up putting together was this website where you can essentially go and submit a link and add a quantity. For instance, my son's birthday here. If I wanted to add some more items to his birthday list, for example, I would go in here to add item. I could just paste in the product link. Like, I don't know. Let me just get a random toy. He likes Lego Duplos right now, so that's like his thing. Let's say that he wanted the Firetown engine here. I could take this and paste it into my link, and we only need one of these, but it's going to add this here. And what it's doing is in the background, Chipp is actually taking those instructions with that link. It's actually going to look at that web page, and it's using the Chipp API to reach out to it. It's going to get some information. It's going to format it as JSON, and then it's going to return that information and save it in my Airtable base. And then the next time that I refresh this page, I'll see information about this product here. So then when I go to actually share this registry, people can just quickly browse through, no matter where these particular items, no matter what store or website they're on. They can see, the price, how much I need of that item, the name of the item, and then even a picture if it's available. Some of them are a little finicky to get because of all the different photo formats and things, but I can kind of show on the back end how this works as well.
That's great. So you did the work to connect API to Airtable. And if you want to show us kind of where that is in Airtable, even that could be cool to see.
Yeah. So let me
updating on Softr basically.
Let me go here. So it should be noted as well that this is also very early days. So, but this is kind of like where I think AI is, and especially Chipp providing an AI or an API is the most beneficial, because think if you can do this with websites or with file uploads, whatever the case is, and return actually structured data in like in a JSON body or something like that, that you can actually return that information and save it to a database. And so the way that I actually have this functioning, this is kind of like the back end of it. I have some gifts here, and I can go and look and see kind of what's going on here with this one. But essentially, I created I don't know if anyone's familiar with N8N. It's another great product like Make or Zapier, but I created some N8N workflows here. You guys said that you wanted to get really technical in the weeds here, so this is definitely that. I've created a workflow here that basically gets a webhook from Airtable. So a item is created from the Softr front end. It's created in Airtable. Airtable then fires a automation script to reach out to my workflow that I've set up in N8N over here. It gets this code, or it kind of modifies it a little bit, and then it makes a post request to the Chipp API with that link. It sends the link over there, and then it returns some information. I kind of do some formatting here to essentially unstringify the response, and then I just update that record here. And let me see if I can see what's going on here. Let's see, unexpected token T. Yeah, let me try an Amazon link. Amazon seems to work pretty well with it thus far. Like I said, this is very early days, but
well, it's so cool to see the back end and how you have things connected. I know we've had different builders kind of building out to Make and N8N and others to automate a lot. So it's fun to see how people think about it.
Yeah, and it's just so powerful because when I think about this in terms of like a business or a company that needs to do these types of workflows, it's now possible to like I mean I built this in maybe like 2 days. I mean it didn't really take a whole lot of time to build, and it's something that's really powerful that businesses can spin up very quickly. Both now the front end, but now also being able to incorporate that all important AI piece into it, either as a widget or an embed or using the API or whatever.
And I could see where you could even write descriptions or like copy for the website using that product, right? Where you could then have it go back to Chipp to write a paragraph and send that to Softr again via Airtable. Like that could get pretty wild.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's probably even a much easier use case to even demo is like if you're trying to write blog articles automatedly, right? Or write a description for something. There's just all kinds of use cases for that API for things that you need to do like on the back end of something. So
cool. All right, well, let's see what questions people have from seeing that. Any surprises there? I don't know, Biggie, if you have any questions, or Anna, great to have you guys. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Have you used N8N, Ricardo? Is that something you're familiar with, or is that a new one for you?
Yeah. I've used N8N. I used N8N before Make. I only started using Make last week because of the bounty.
Okay. That's right. Well, we're glad.
But yeah, no.
That's cool.
I love N8N.
Yeah. So tell us, Patrick, kind of as you start to use this, you mentioned a little bit about how you see AI kind of moving in the future. How do you see businesses, actually adopting AI? Is it going to be more hidden, like you kind of said, on the back end like this, or how do you kind of see it and think about it from a Softr perspective as well?
Yeah, so some of the use cases that I've seen come through, like for Softr specifically, is we have a lot of people building internal tools that just want to get better insights on their data, right? They have like, a SQL server, or they have, a spreadsheet or something like that, that they want to be able to quickly parse information from things that are typically static. Like they have a PDF and they're needing to map fields from the PDF to their database, or they need to extract some sort of information and then categorize it in some way. And in my opinion, like that's one of the most compelling use cases for AI, because AI is so good at doing that that manual repetition, particularly with like structured data. And that's just something that's like so time consuming for humans to do. And so having a widget inside of an internal tool where someone can just drop, like for instance, I was just talking to a property management group where they have sell sheets or price sheets for their properties. But a lot of times the developers that develop those properties, the PDFs that they submit, they're all in all kinds of different formats. Some say, 3-bed, 1-bath. Some say 3-bedroom, 1-bath, right? And so there's no like, it's very difficult to standardize some of the documents and things that come through. But if you have a properly trained GPT, you can just upload that file and say, hey, here's the information I want out of this file. You don't even have to open the file. You can just send it to the GPT. It can return that data in a really structured way. And then you've got some standardized data that you can actually work with. So those are probably the most prolific use cases of AI that I've seen with Softr apps. Is just people needing, honestly, sometimes an embed, sometimes a widget. It's most of it is not even, using an API or anything like that. Most of it is using, like just having some sort of custom chat widget that they can chat with to solve very niche issues.
Yeah. That's great. Well, and maybe show us real quick, like when you connect things into Softr like this, you're doing all the API work via Airtable, not Softr. Is that right? Or are you doing any kind of catches on Softr?
Yeah, so it's all done. So when you connect a data source, we do it just via OAuth connection, and Softr uses all real-time APIs. So we don't do any caching or storing of data. We're fully GDPR compliant as well. So anytime a user goes into a Softr app or a portal and they need to pull information from one of these data sources, we're actually using a direct connection to that data source, rather than like, performing a sync every 5 minutes or something like that. And so the positive side of that is that you have all real-time data. It's always fresh anytime a user needs it. The downside of that is that you are beholden to whatever that data source's API or their rate limits are. Yeah. So like with Airtable, they have pretty low rate limits for their API, but if you use something like Xano or SQL or Supabase, they have very high rate limits, and they're enterprise scale solutions that can really handle a ton of throughput and data transmission. So
great. That's amazing. Well, it's so fun to see Chipp out in the wild, and especially being like integrated in these really powerful tools. So it becomes, just one of the Duplos, like your son, building like a big end goal or a big building or something. So I'll just check one more time if there's any questions here from the audience. It's so fun to see it live, Patrick. So I appreciate you walking through that.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything, Ricardo? You got it mute off. You can ask. Yeah.
I have just a small question. I saw Supabase on the connection, but I didn't see Firebase. Why no connection with Firebase yet?
Yeah, so that's a good question. A lot of our users are, not a lot. Most of our users are extremely non-technical. And if they are technical at all, they are part of either a small business or an enterprise. And so the majority of those customers actually are not using Firebase, surprisingly. Most of Firebase is used for like native apps, startups, MVPs,
yeah,
stuff. Yeah. But I'll send that over to our product team, because they, the more data sources we integrate with, the better Softr becomes. So
yeah, that's great. Well, we're excited to integrate with Softr, and happy to showcase anyone who builds an app for the hackathon. If you're building with Softr, I think that's a really quick and easy way to make your app stand out. And kind of like we talked about, there's some pretty easy wins of either chat widgets within a website, or even like gathering multiple Chipp chats in one place. So I'll put the link to the hackathon here in the chat, so if any of you don't already have it. And then Patrick is P Ford on Twitter or X, however you like to call it. And so I'll put a quick link to him here. Anything else you want to plug, Patrick, besides Softr?
I don't think so. If I can ever assist, or you have questions or anything like that, please reach out on X, or my email is just patrick@softr.io. It's very simple. I'd be happy to jump on a call and sort through your specific use case or implementation.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I put that in the chat as well. Thanks everyone for joining us. Tomorrow we're doing a workshop on how to build SEO apps with AI, or SEO apps that are powered by Chipp and AI. So that'll be a really fun one. Tom and some of you maybe have met Chuck from Denver. They've actually integrated SEMrush via API into Chipp chat, so you can actually ask questions over your keyword list. So some pretty wild things going on in the SEM world. So you can check that out. And then our Monday is our showcase. So everyone who has entered, we're going to kind of go through the best events, or the best submissions, I should say. And I'll give you a link to our calendar so you can subscribe to any of those and join us at any time. So Patrick, you're welcome to enter as well. So if you clean up your gift together, you can put that in as your submission, and then
I'll see what I can do.
Our wedding lists and registries with you.
See what I can do there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the time. Great to have you. And thanks for making time at the end of the workday. Everybody, thanks for staying up late. Ricardo, Vicky, have a great evening. Everyone else, thanks for jumping on. And we'll see you soon online. Have a great day.
Thanks. See everybody.
Thanks, workshop, and see you tomorrow or next time.
Yeah. Scott, I was going to say thank you for that generous offer yesterday during for like, what was it, like 80% off the platform?
Yeah, we did like a flash sale for the 100 days.
Yeah. Yeah. So I scooped that up. So that's great.
Well, welcome to the community.
Now I have to put it into practice.
Yeah, go build. You're in. Now you got to build something for the hackathon. So
right.
Awesome. All right.
Oh,
Good to see you all.
thanks.